10. Megabugs. The Earth before dinosaurs was populated by giant creepy crawlies. During this period, oxygen increased by 10%. With this increase, the insects suddenly started to grow, as if they had taken hormones. Insects breathe through small openings in their bodies called tracheoles. And with more oxygen in the air, they were able to take in more oxygen to fuel their large bodies. Meganeura is a perfect example of this. This giant flying creature resembles today's dragonflies, but was a formidable predator with spiny legs, giant compound eyes, and a wingspan exceeding 70 centimeters. It ate meat and used the spines on its legs to trap a variety of prey, from other flying insects to amphibians and even lizard-like vertebrates. There were other giant insect centipedes and spiders, but they were not as aggressive as this flying predator. These centipedes reached up to 8 meters in length. However, they were herbivores. They were eating rotting grass on the forest floor. 9. The biggest desert ever. The Pangaea supercontinent dominated the Earth. The continents were united into a single continent. North and South America were connected to Africa, to the north to Eurasia, and to the south to Antarctica and Australia. While vast desert areas dominated the interior of this huge continent, shallow seas surrounded moist swamp forests. Over time, as the climate dried out and sea levels fell, the coniferous forests near the coast gave way to a sun-bleached desert that dominated Pangaea's interior. Deprived of water, this hostile, parched earth landscape was perhaps the largest desert the world had ever known. Towards the end of the period, temperature fluctuations reached a new extreme. The nights were bitterly cold, while the days were battered by the intense heat of the sun, which was similar to modern deserts, but much more intense. Hardy animals, such as the mammal-like reptiles, Lystrosaurus, and the burrowing Thrinaxodon, evolved by adapting to extreme conditions. 8. The plant world in the period before dinosaurs. Ferns were the undisputed champions of the prehistoric plant world. These weren't your average houseplants. Some prehistoric fern species towered over the landscape like giants, forming sprawling, shady forests. There were no flowering and colorful plants, because pollinators were not that developed yet. This actually shows how animals and plants evolved together. So how do ferns thrive if there are no pollinators? Of course, with spores. The atmosphere was filled with spores. These included club mosses towering over ancient landscapes, giant ancestors of horsetails, and giant mushrooms. Later in the Paleozoic era, seed ferns appeared. These blended fern-like leaves produced seeds that were the precursor to the conifers that would later dominate. 7. Ancestor of modern mammals. The ancestor of modern mammals was something like a cross between a polar bear and a saber-toothed cat. Dimetrodon had long legs. This shows that he is a fast runner. Inostrancevia had sword-shaped canines that could deliver lethal blows to the necks of megaherbivores like Scutosaurus. We don't know whether Inostrancevia was covered in scale-like skin, like its ancestors, or fur, like its mammalian descendants, but another interesting study shows that their offspring may have hair. If so, this first predatory mammal probably had hair. 6. A relative of turtles. There weren't many animals larger than Scutosaurus during the late Permian period, especially in the cold deserts of ancient Russia. These forklift-sized reptiles were not only long but also heavy, measuring nearly 10 feet from head to tail. It tipped the scales at a whopping 1,100 kilograms, equivalent to the weight of a black rhinoceros. Scutosaurus and other large members of the Parasaur family were among the first megaherbivores to walk the earth. They were the pioneers of a field that would later be dominated by dinosaurs such as Stegosaurus, Triceratops, and Ankylosaurus. Scutosaurus was very similar to these dinosaurs, but it was as related to them as we are to whales and dolphins. Interestingly, Scutosaurus's closest living relative was the turtle, another armored reptile with a reputation similar to the slow car. 5. The fish that revolutionized land. Fish aren't typically known for their ability to walk on land, but Tiktaalik wasn't your typical fish. It was, by definition, a fish, but sporting primitive, air-breathing lungs as well as gills and 4 fleshy appendages that resembled limbs. It was well on its way to becoming a fully fledged terrestrial tetrapod. From fossils found in Arctic Canada, it's estimated that Tiktaalik grew to lengths of 3 m. This huge size, combined with large jaws full of needle-like teeth, a mobile neck and eyes eyes on the top of its head suggests it was a predator specially adapted for hunting fish in the shallows. Some think it may have even preyed on other, smaller fishopods that lived on the margins between land and water. In pursuit of prey, Tiktaalik relied not only on what it had up top, but underneath too. Unlike most other fish, Tiktaalik had robust fins that could support its weight outside of the water, attached to highly mobile joints. It's this combination that allowed Tiktaalik and others of its kin to experiment with a life on land. Where Tiktaalik falls on the vertebrate family tree is debated, but there's no denying that it lived during an important time in the evolution of four-limbed animals. From Tiktaalik and its close cousins, a new dynasty spawned, one that would give rise to reptiles, dinosaurs, birds, mammals, and eventually humans. 4. An ancient, extinct fish. This elusive fish still inhabits some deep parts of the Indian Ocean, but up until the mid-20th century, it was thought to be long extinct. Then in 1938, a strange-looking one, 5 long fish, was caught off the coast of South Africa. After intense deliberatio, expert ichthyologist J.L.B. Smith declared it to be a coelacanth. Coelacanth is a not-too-distant cousin of Tiktaalik. It also has 4 fleshy fins that resemble limbs, but never made the transition to life on land. Instead, it's thought coelacanth adapted to life in the deep, sheltering in caves during the day, and only venturing out at night to hunt. It's probably this adaptation that saved coelacanth from annihilation during 4 of Earth's big 5 mass extinctions. 3. A poisonous fish with metal teeth. For about 30 million years, it ruled the oceans of the northern hemisphere first with iron, or rather with iron bite. This 15-foot-long armored fish had a bite force that rivaled some of today's strongest bites. At the very tip of its bony teeth, it is estimated that Dunkleosteus could bite with a force of 80,000 psi, enough to crush some of the strongest steel. Special jaw muscles meant that Dunkleosteus was able to open its mouth in less than 50 seconds, creating a small gap that could suck prey into it. It outlived many ancient sharks and long dominated the niches we associate with sharks, such as the great white. 2. Mysterious fossils. Dickinsonia is a rather mysterious fossil from the Ediacaran period, between 635 million and 535 million years ago. These fossils are unlike anything alive today, leaving scientists baffled as to what kind of creature they might be. One theory suggests that Dickinsonia may be a very ancient species of jellyfish. Jellyfish are soft-bodied creatures, and their fossils are not very common. However, the discovery of Dickinsonia fossils in many parts of the world shows that they were a very successful organism. Another theory is that Dickinsonia may be something completely different. Some scientists believe it could be some kind of giant amoeba, or a life form we've never seen before. The mystery of Dickinsonia is one of many unanswered questions about the Ediacaran period. This was a time when life on Earth was very different from today. The first complex multicellular organisms were just beginning to evolve, and this ancient creature was one of the first. 1. The Great Extinction. The Permian period, which spanned from 299 million to 251 million years ago, holds the grim record for the most devastating extinction event on Earth. 90% of life on Earth disappeared. Runaway global warming, possibly fueled by a massive volcanic eruption in present-day Siberia, has turned the world into an inferno. This extreme climate change has caused oceans to acidify, sea levels to rise, and weather patterns to disrupt, making survival nearly impossible for most creatures. This thing caught my attention about this extinction. In the dinosaur extinction, land creatures were damaged more than sea creatures, but in this Permian extinction, 95% of marine life and 70% of land creatures were destroyed. So, ocean poisoning killed almost all living things in the ocean. Additionally, although extinction events usually occur over millions of years, the Permian extinction occurred incredibly quickly, in just 200,000 years. It took millions of years for ecosystems to recover from this destruction. For example, the reefs returned to their former state after 14 million years. After the peak creatures of the Permian period disappeared, dinosaurs gradually became the kings of the New Age. In general, in the world before dinosaurs, in the Permian Age, the world was not only home to strange and wonderful creatures, it also saw the rise of the first large herbivores and carnivores on land. These early versions of mammalian ancestors, called therapsids, were some of the lucky few that managed to survive the extinction, eventually paving the way for the rise of dinosaurs during the Triassic period. In my opinion, the age before dinosaurs was one of the most colorful and interesting eras in world history. We have come to the end of the 10 interesting facts about the Earth before dinosaurs video. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to follow Science Buster to avoid missing interesting information, interesting facts, culture, history, space and documentary style videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.